Yo, what is going on everyone? Konospens bringing you all a brand new Genshin Impact video, and today, as you can see, we got a tier list here. And we have several tiers, SS to fodder, and at the bottom, you can see all the polearms inside of Genshin Impact, including the Lithic Spear and the Staff of Homa. So, what are we doing today? You may be asking. Well, we're going to be sorting out these spears on their effectiveness for the new Animo polearm user that everybody loves, Xiao. We're going to be ranking the best spears, the worst spears, everything in between on this tier list, all in one video. And all of this information is based on my opinion, so don't hurt me too much in the comments. Before we hop into actually sorting them out, I only ask you to leave a like and subscribe, it's free. And with that said, let's start sorting them out. So, as you can see, we got the Lithic Spear right here, the new one. All of its stats are not finalized yet, but I'm going to be judging it based on what we do know so far. It has good base attack. It has a pretty good attack percent substat, which is pretty good. And its passive, which gives attack percent and crit rate per person in leeway on your team. It gives a nice little bonus to that. Overall, it's pretty good spear, and yeah, I think I would put it in S tier. However, due to the fact that it's already hard enough to build around Xiao, building around both Xiao and his spear, I think I'm gonna bump it down to A tier. I want to put it in S, but I'm gonna put it at like the top of A tier. Next up, we got whatever the heck that is. What is that called again? Hold up, I got it on my notes. Ah, yes, the Beginner's Protector. This, for all of you who don't know, this is the spear that you get by default. This is the 1-star spear, and I got 2 words for it. Literal shit. Let's put it in fodder. Let's get it in fodder. It's not even good to be fodder too. It does like nothing. Here's another new spear, the Staff of Homa. And the Staff of Homa is a pretty nice spear. It's Hu Tao's spear. People say it's going to be great for Zhongli as well. Some say it's good for Xiao. Well, Staff of Homa has amazing base attack. It's second highest in the game. Starts off at 46 base attack, I'm pretty sure, while the highest is 48. It has a massive crit damage substat. I'm pretty sure it's like 60% or higher, which is equivalent to a 5-star artifact leveled up all the way to 20. Might have a little more than that, but it's insane. The passive is really good too, since I don't know exactly how it works, but you get an attack buff based on your maximum HP, and if you fall below 50% of your max HP, the attack buff's even bigger. But yeah, Xiao likes to lose his own health, so he might get under the 50% and get an even bigger boost to his attack, which is nice. And yeah, I think it's a pretty solid spear. A crit damage helmet's worth a crit damage on a weapon that has a super high base attack. I don't know anywhere else to put it but double S tier. Alright, another really good weapon that even I had my eye on before, and that's going to be the Blackcliff Pole. The Blackcliff Pole has pretty decent base attack, has a really solid crit damage substat, not as high as Staff of Homa, but it's still really good. The passive is great too, but it requires you to constantly kill enemies every, I think it's 30 seconds to be in effect, so that might be a problem in Spiral Abyss. Also, you can refine it every 2 months if you have enough starglitter, which makes it a pretty good weapon. And because it's crit damage with a pretty decent base attack, I think it belongs in S tier. Alright, another unknown weapon. Let's see. Yes, it's called the Black Tassel. It is a 3-star polearm, which is pretty common if you've ever done any wishing. There's not much to say about it, except that it's trash, since its base attack is low. Its substat is HP percent, and its passive gives you extra damage against slimes. This is just some elite fodder in the fodder tier. There we go. Next up, we got the good old Crescent Pike. Crescent Pike is a really good spear for those of you who play free-to-play or use Zhang Ling. Very good spear. Has good base attack, gives a physical damage bonus, which is good for Xiao until he uses an elemental skill or his burst, which that's when the Crescent Pike starts to fall apart for Xiao. Also, the passive falls apart on Xiao when Xiao enters his Yaksha mask form because he's not regenerating energy on an elemental skill. The only way he can pick up a particle is if he hits the HP threshold on a enemy or if he kills the enemy. So I think because of that, and it's just not that amazing of a weapon for Xiao, I think it's pretty mediocre. I think I'm going to put it in B tier. Don't hate me for that, all of you who love the Crescent Pike. Next up, we got the Deathmatch, which is the Battle Pass Spear. And the Deathmatch is a pretty good spear. I was honestly looking at it when I first saw Xiao coming out. I'm like, hey, a spear with crit rate? That's amazing. So, like I said, it has crit rate as a substat, and it's a pretty big crit rate substat. But because it's such a big crit rate substat, you get hit hard on the base attack, and it has a kind of has a meh base attack, which is all right, but it's not too good if you want your base attack, your attack numbers to be over 2,000 on the little stats page. The passive is also really good on this weapon because it activates when you're near 1 or 2 enemies, and it just gives you a attack and defense boost. Overall, really good weapon. I wouldn't put it in A tier or a double S. I'm going to put it in S tier. Not better than the Blackcliff, but it's still S tier. It's just a little bit, it's a good amount worse than the Blackcliff. So if you have the option between the two, take the Blackcliff. All right, Zhongli's Spear. Is this what I'm seeing? I think that's what I'm seeing. The Zhongli Spear, the Vortex Vanquisher is what it's called. Obviously being a 5-star weapon. Amazing base attack. It has the same base attack as Staff of Homa. Has a huge attack percent buff as well. And because of that, it doesn't have the highest base attack, like the, 48? It has the 46. And the passive, it's a really good passive as long as you have a shield user in your party, because you'll get some crazy attack buffs if you have a shield user. But because assuming you don't have a shield user, then this can be like S tier. If you do have a shield user, double S tier easily. But just because not everybody wants to use a shield user or has a good one that'll work with Xiao, I'm going to put it at the top of S tier. Alright, the Zhangling lore weapon, which is the Dragon's Bane. It just has a low base attack for a 4-star. And for someone like Xiao, Elemental Mastery, not gonna lie, kind of dog shit. So we're actually gonna place this good old spear in C tier. And now that brings us to the Dragon Spine Spear, the new spear introduced in 1.2, free-to-play spear too, since you can craft it. This spear also suffers from having a low base attack for a 4-star, and its physical damage and its passive is better suited for cryo characters, not so much regular characters, but it still works. It's a little bit of extra damage on a chance. I'll put it better than the Dragon's Bane. C tier as well. Alright, easy to get spear. I think everybody who's done at least a couple wishes has this spear, and that's going to be the good old Favonius Lance. Has some pretty good base attack, has energy recharge as a substat, which is good for Xiao, since you can get his burst over and over again, since he's not really good at generating energy. However, that energy recharge substat isn't as high as other weapons. It is actually the lowest energy recharge out of the spears that I have on this list. It's a pretty good weapon. It's nothing fantastic. It's not horrible. I'd say it's a little bit better than the Crescent Pike. So, B tier. And now we have the, I think this is the Halberd. It's pretty much a spear version of Prototype Archaic, Prototype Aminus for you OGs out there. Except, it's literally worse in every possible way. Only use this spear if you pull Xiao when you're a low adventure rank, and even if you do choose to use this spear at a low adventure rank, I don't suggest putting much resources into it, since you can obviously then make like any of the craftables, which are going to rank higher than this because I'm placing this in D tier. All right, this spear, this is literally the 2-star. It can't be worse than the 1-star spear, but it can certainly be one step above the 1-star spear. And what's better than shit? I guess fertilizer. It'll give you a little bit more XP, a little bit more nutrients for your better weapons. All right, the Skyward Spine. I actually love this spear. This spear is so good. Skyward Spine has the highest base attack stat for a weapon in the game. Has a great substat of energy recharge, only losing out to prototype Starglitter, but much more than the Favonius Lance, so that's pretty good. And its substat, passive. The passive for the Skyward Spine is probably my favorite substat of any of the spears here. Maybe on par with the Primordial Jade Spear. If not, the Skyward Spine passive is my favorite. And that's because it literally gives you a little bit of crit rate. I think it gives 8% crit rate. And it gives you a nice little percentage boost to your attack speed. And you also get the chance to do like some vacuum blade thing, which will do a little extra damage as physical damage. So that's always pretty nice. Overall, this is a really solid weapon. Better than Staff of Homa, in my opinion. It's going to be first place in SS tier right now. And just like Skyward Spine, we got another energy recharge weapon, and that is going to be the Prototype Starglitter. Prototype Starglitter is a pretty free-to-play friendly weapon. It's really solid, has a pretty decent base attack, lots of energy recharge. That's its substat. It's the highest energy recharge substat out of all the spears, and as we know, it's great for charging up Xiao's burst ability. Its passive is actually really solid as well. It gives a nice attack buff regularly to Xiao every time he uses his elemental skill. You just gotta time it right, which you should be doing already if you want to benefit from Xiao's talent. And yeah, really solid weapon, easy to refine, but put it in A tier right behind the Lithic Spear. Now we got a Starglitter shop weapon, which is the Royal Spear. Royal Spear has good base attack, I think it's like 44. Has a solid attack percent substat, which is always nice. Its passive gives a temporary boost to your crit rate, which is, I don't want to say it's bad, I don't want to say it's great, it's all right, but because, you know, a pretty good base attack percent, and even if that crit rate is just a temporary thing, I think we're gonna put that also in A. Could be B tier, but I think I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A tier, but it could be at the top of B tier. It's a weird one, it's like in between. And now we are brought to another trash weapon, and that's gonna be the White Tassel, the brother to the Elite Fodder. And that's the White Tassel. Low base attack, but it does have crit rate as a substat, and it has a somewhat decent passive. Only use it if you're a beginner. Don't invest too much. You can craft a better weapon later on, like Prototype Starglitter. Top of D tier. And obviously we got Primordial Jade Spear. Fodder, no, I'm kidding. Hey, no, there we go. Top of S tier, SS tier. Literally the best weapon for Xiao. It's made for him. You can't even deny that. It matches his color scheme too. And yeah, Xiao's matching spear. Highest base attack stat in the game. Good crit rate substat. Really amazing considering the base attack. Don't believe me? Look at the Deathmatch spear. Literally, when you have crit rate as a substat, you get doinked pretty hard on your base attack. Like, look at the Jade Cutter too. It got doinked pretty hard on base attack too. So, having crit rate and the highest base attack in the game, that makes it such a good spear. Also, it has a passive, which will always be up, which will end up giving you more attack percent. And yeah, like I said, hands down, best weapon for Xiao. I don't know what to say. But yeah, that's been it for my tier list. You can read it from best to worst, from left to right, top to bottom. There's that. All based on my opinion. You guys are more than welcome to have your own opinion. You're more than welcome to agree with me, which I would appreciate much more. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll also have the link to this tier list in the description below, as well as my Twitter if you want to actually take a picture and then send it to me on Twitter. Links to all that down below. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.